is important, and you will also know where to go to find updated MLA citation information. So before I'm talking about the MLA citation, in-text citation, I have a question. Why should we cite? What's the Oh, yes, I'm also recording this session. So we can use. I did it already. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. My colleagues, she already start recording that session, so we can use in our future use. Um, my colleagues Stephanie, she also another instruction and reference librarian. Hello. She also monitored the chat, and our colleague Miss Michelle, she also present this workshop, so she also help us. So what I'm talking about, why should we cite? What the reason behind we need citation? Anyone has any idea?
I have someone typing.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Answer,
that's
so you don't have to hear my answer all the time.
Okay. So the first reason behind the citation style to avoid plagiarism. As you know, if you copy paste from any of the books or from an article, and if you are not citing, then it's like a punishable thing. It's considered as a plagiarism. And another reason, it gives proper credit to the authors of the words or idea that you incorporate into your paper. Also, it allows those who are reading your work to locate your source in order to learn more about the ideas that you are including in your paper. So in short, answer, acknowledge the original work or acknowledge the original author, their credential. So as yes, Stephanie.
One thing I want to add is that when you're writing formal papers and there's no citation, then the reader thinks it's your idea.
Yes.
So if it's not your idea, you need to cite it. Yes. That's the clue to the reader that this is not the original idea of the writer. So it's very important, and that's part of the idea of plagiarism, and to avoid it. Because if there's no citing, we think it's your idea. And if it's someone else's idea and you don't give them credit, there could be serious consequences. That's correct.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you for adding that thing. So types of citation in an MLA is basically two part in MLA when you're writing a paper. In-text citation in parentheses, which actually you write your own, the essay body. And works cited at the end of your essay or the research paper, you just listed the works cited. So there is a two part in MLA. One is in-text citation, another is works cited. And I'm also talking this session another thing, which is document format. Document format actually, sometimes your professor, he or she give you, the specific rules, how the paper looks like, how font you use, what type of spacing you have to use, where should you write your name. So this is the format. So I'm covered today document format, in-text citation, and works cited. But the first rule, follow your professor guideline. Unless your professor or instructor, they are not providing any specific, and they said, you have to write MLA citation, MLA paper. So that time you can use some of the general rules. Paper should be A4 size, which is 8.5 into 11 inch. Always should be double space. 12 font times New Roman or similar font. After punctuation, have only one space. Set margin 1 inch for all sides. I actually would like to show you the actual paper, how it looks like. You can see this is a MLA the general paper guideline and how can you write. You can see there is a no separate title page. Right hand side on the top, the your name, your last name, followed by the page number. And then left hand side, your full name, your professor name, the coursework, and you can see, the title should be center. And when you start writing your first paragraph, it should be indent, half inch. So I'm just going to, one time, no title page, the first page, no title page, double space, your name, instructor name, the course and date, upper left hand corner, center the paper title, upper right corner, create header, your last name and page number. Uh, Actually, you can get many help, from this template. So simply, if you download from Microsoft Office or from other, the vendor, some MLA style format is available on the online. I can actually show you some of the templates. So I'm just leaving and then share my window. Um, oh, sorry, that's not. You can see there is a title. This is a format. If you click all this link, you can download and you can actually see that type of handy paper. So simply you can download this format and you can start writing. You can see left hand side your name, instructor name, course number, date, your last name and the page number, and you can follow that paper, and at the end of your paper you can just cite it work cited. So Stephanie, can you please uh, include that to link the chat box so a student they can download.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So back to my temp, PowerPoint again. Yes, the next thing I'm just talking about the in-text citation. So in-text citation, actually, what is in-text citation? In MLA, when actually you reference other works in your writing, use a parenthetical or in-text citation. So in-text citation, there is a different type of in-text citation. One is direct quote, one is paraphrasing, another is summarizing. But one thing remember, ideally no more than 25% of your paper should be direct quotation, because if you write down too many direct quotations, so actually you are not writing nothing in your paper. So ideally no more than 25% direct quote, but paraphrasing is acceptable, summary is acceptable as long as you cite it. um, so I'm just going to talk about the, yes,
this one.
yes.
So when you say that paraphrasing is acceptable as long as you cite it, now you can't paraphrase everything in your paper, right? You have to back it up judiciously.
Yes,
right?
yes, definitely. If you're writing the whole paper, 100% paraphrasing, then you are not writing anything. So you have to write down paraphrasing and your own view, at the end of paper, what you understand,
I think that, at least for me with my writing, it's also new, so you end up oversighting different little things in there. But as you go along, you sprinkle your paraphrasing to support your original thesis and to support your idea.
Yes, you got it.
And I think that will come with practice if you're beginning writers. But it's hard to decide. I mean, everything is so new, especially when you're doing a new topic. But you have to be careful with how much you paraphrase, because it does have to be your ideas and you and the way you decide how you decide to back it up and stuff. Is it does have to be you.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're synthesizing those ideas.
But you still need to have your own original thesis and your own original, reasons why. And so you can't. That's I think that's a concept that comes with practice. But thank you, Mohammed. I always see that and go, does that mean I can paraphrase everything else in 90% of the paper? No, I don't think it is.
Thank you.
That's my misunderstanding.
And types of in-text citation, I already mentioned there is a 3 type of in-text citation. One is direct quote, the paraphrase, a rewording or something written or spoken by someone else. I can show you example later. And then summary, for example, sometime if you read the whole chapter or the whole books and you write a paragraph, a brief statement, that is called summary. So in text citation, there is a common formats we use. One is author and the page number, title and the page number, only page number. Author and page number, for example, if you're reading a book and you got the book author name and you know the page number, so in this case you can simply write down author name and the page number. Sometimes, especially you get article from online or website, there is many times you just get the title name. There is no page number. There is a page number, but there is no author name. So in this case, you just simply write down shortened version of the title name and the page number. And only page number is very rare. Sometimes you get some information, there is no author, no title. That type of reference, you have to write down the page number, but you have to provide the link or the source. But it's very rare, only page number. In text citation, how can you write down multiple author or one author? Very straightforward. For example, one author, Miller, the author last name, followed by the page number. There is no P, no comma. Miller 21, what we understand, Miller is the author last name and 21 page. Two author, just simply connect the two author by and. Lee and Miller, both author last name and the page number 65, no P, no comma. 3 or more author, don't worry about the 3 author names. Just write down first author, last name, and et al. Et al means other people. And the page number. Citing multiple pages, for example, you writing an article from this article written by Stephanie Aisha, and you are citing multiple pages. So in this case, just the author last name Aisha and the multiple page, their range 29 to 32. So this is the very basic in-text citation format, author and the page number. And there is a good example. You can see spontaneous overflow or powerful feelings. And Wordsworth 263. That's mean when you actually see any direct quotation mark, you can understand this is a direct quotation. It's not a paraphrasing, it's not a summary, it's direct quotation. So we have to put the direct quotation mark, and at the end, the sentence you can write down author last name and the page number. Note there is no P and no comma. And this is the work cited, at the end of your paper, you can write down author last name, first name, and then blah, blah. I can talk about work cited after in-text citation.
So Oxford UP, should the UP be capitalized?
It should be capitalized. Thank you for the correction.
Okay.
Next time I can write down. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Sorry.
So in text citation, this is a example, good example. In author and the page number example, you can see there is a few sentence, and at the end of the sentence you can see Tyson 252. So author or work not stated in the sentence, that's why you have to write down author last name followed by the page number. And you can see this sentence, it you can only see it's raining cats and dog and the quotation marks, so you can understand it's probably direct quote. But second phase, according to the morpheme, author or work is stated in the sentence, so you don't have to write at the end of your sentence again, the author name, no needed, because you already mentioned the author last name according to. So in this case, you can simply write down the page number. And even though you can see this sentence, there is a no direct quotation. So you can understand it's a paraphrase or summary. So there is the two type, author and page number. You can that's the simple things in text citation you can use in MLA.
And you'll notice that that's one of the things I always worry about is the period, the page numbers at the end of the sentence, then there's a period. And that can help you distinguish as a reader, this belongs, the parentheses belongs to this sentence. It's not the same in every citation style, but yes. So it belongs to the sentence
yes.
that comes along. And to do different things. And again, the no comma drives me nuts, going from other citation styles.
Yes, especially the APA, they use the P, but MLA, no P, no comma.
Comma, yeah.
Okay. And some in text citations, some common citation system, when you're writing a poetry as a direct quote, just write down, the line 5 to 10. The poet, his name, last name, his or her last name, and the line 5 to 10. Internet resource with author Johnson, because many of the internet resource you couldn't find the page number. So if you couldn't find the page number, how can you put that thing? So in this case, you just simply write down the author last name. Internet resource without an author. Sometimes I already mentioned you get article, there is a no author enlisted, especially web page, many web pages. In this case, you just write down shortened version of the title. For example, ethnic dining trends in the United States. You just simply write down ethnic. Visual and audio media, you have to write down the sequence, the scene. For example, you are describing one scene from Jurassic Park, 12 minutes 15 seconds to 12 minutes 25 seconds. He or she killed the dinosaur. So you are writing. So always use that, that time frame.
And that allows the checker or the reader to go to Jurassic Park and go to 1 hour, 12 minutes, and then the 15 to 25 to quickly see what's going on, so they're not fast forwarding through the film or anything like that. And when I look at this one, I always think, well, which version of Jurassic Park? But the work cited will tell you.
Yeah. Yes.
Or you could also mention it in your text.
Yes.
Before you.
Yes. Especially work cited, it will say Jurassic version 1984, 1983 or something.
Yes,
or part 1, part 2.
Yeah. Or the, director's version if they have different directors. And you don't, for the in-text citation, if you mention the author in the text, you just do the page numbers, but you're not required to introduce the author in the text, are you?
No.
Not really? Okay.
Not really.
I know that with Chicago, you have to introduce the author in the text once, and then you can just cite afterwards. That's one difference.
Honestly speaking, MLA citation is system more, easier than any other citation, like MLA or ASA. Yes, or Chicago. And most of the undergraduate humanities students, they using the MLA citation system. In-text citation, title and page number. I already mentioned, sometimes you don't get the author name. In this case, just write down, shortened version of the title, even though I write here the whole one, but you can just write down global warming and then 7. And if you put, the source. But, I write down probably there is a multiple title similar, that's why I just want the whole title.
I suppose you would go as far as to the point the title changes. Like if you have global warming causes and then global warming may, then you could go to global warming may, which would give your reader. I guess I have a question that's coming up about about the citation.
Okay, no problem.
And then no comma.
Yes. So before we talk about the in-text citation, let's go. We can do a little exercise. So I'm sharing my window and then I can my guided practice. Can you see, everyone can see my window?
We can see it.
Okay, I'm just doing a little bit big. Okay. Guided practice for everyone. Please correct all the error in each example. Each of the following sentence have at least one error in the MLA in-text citation. For example, the first one, you can see the quotation mark. So you can understand it's a direct quote from any article or the books. And at the end, parenthesis, global warming, comma, P, full stop, then 7. What's wrong this in-text citation? Can anyone answer?
No comma, no P. Can't stand it. No comma, no P.
So I already mentioned there is no P, no comma. So simply you can erase. That's fine. Okay. The second one, according to the Castro and Hillsop, I already mentioned the author name and then direct quotation, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the parenthesis, Castro and Hislop, comma, P24. What's wrong this in-text citation?
Remove the Castro and Hislop in parentheses because you've already.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michelle. Because I already mentioned the author name beginning the sentence, so I don't have to write down again, their name. And there is no P, no comma. It's only the page number. Done. What the number 3? According to Emron et al. So when we see the et al, that means this article or books written by more than 3 people. Because more than 3 people, you just only write down Emron et al. And then direct quotation, you can see the direct quotation. At the end of the direct quotation, Emron, Rehel, Adlob, and Doling 6037. What's wrong with this paper? What is the problem?
Well, in the parenthetical notations, you're citing multiple authors incorrectly. That's one. You would do Ibrahim et al.
Yeah, because
you already mentioned in the text.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to include it.
Yes, even though I don't need, even though it's a 5, 6, I don't have to write down all the author last name.
Else I'm noticing, after the et al, don't you need a comma?
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, good catch. Thank you. So we can, okay, somewhere comma. Okay, so thank you. Okay, we're going back again. My slideshow.
And I have one other question.
Okay.
About citing.
Okay.
In text.
Okay.
when you're doing your literature review part of a paper where you mention and you talk about all the articles out, a lot of times you aren't mentioning specific pages.
Yes.
So do you just put the author's last name in there in parentheses? Like some studies will look at longitudinal or long-term effects, parentheses, Johnson, comma, Rockhurst, comma, Ball, comma.
Yes.
When you're doing
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
parentheses,
Yes.
period.
Yes. Because
Okay.
if you say, the some works, so we have to mention which works.
Yeah.
So, if you're citing multiple works, you
Uh-huh.
have to write down that.
But you don't need to include specific pages.
No.
Because you're just talking about the works as a whole.
As a whole.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so the next thing, paraphrasing, I already know is Tiffany. She mentioned the paraphrasing, and there is a good version. Paraphrasing is not you just alter few of the word and write down. You know, you can see that original version and the paraphrasing paper. You can see the meanings. Yes, Stephanie, I know you always like the.
It's the order. The order is very important.
Yeah. Yes. So you can simply see the original. It's not simply you change few of the words. You write the same thought idea, but you can see the completely different way. So your teacher, he or she understand. You read this article, you understand, and you can write down. You are able to write down. That's the paraphrasing. Always encourage you do. But one thing, make sure, even though if you do the paraphrasing, you have to give the original their credential. You have to cite it because this, even though this word is your, but the main idea is someone else.
Yeah, it was DeCandio that puts Giles as the father figure.
Yes.
And places him in that role. And you'll notice with that, you have the quotation for that remark. So DeCandio came up with father figure, but you're also paraphrasing. So can you paraphrase and quote in the same sentence? Absolutely.
Yes.
Because he came up with that term.
Yes, definitely. In-text citation and other things, very important things, because sometimes many people did that wrong. Block quotes, big quotes, you are direct quoting more than 4 line, more than 40 sentence. You have to use this format. Even though you write the whole direct quotation, but it's indent happens the whole paragraph. No, whole paragraph. So in text citation, block quotes longer than 4 lines or text, do not use quotation marks. Introduce the block quote, indent the entire quotation 0.5 inch or 1 tab. So simply use this format for direct quote. So if your professor, he or she see that type of, they understand it's a direct quote and it's a long quote.
And no spacing in between.
No space in
Other
between.
citation style space in between.
So I just talk about little bit about the in-text citation, and anytime if you encounter any problem in text citation, even the word cited, this is the book. This is the book, MLA Handbook 8th edition. Anytime if you have any struggle, check this book, because no one can remember every rules. So anytime if you have any confusion, use that book. Library has multiple this copy, so you can take as a loan, or you can use reference book if you use your books in library. So always follow these books.
And one of our handouts has some good links.
Yes, and
do owl and different things.
Yes, and Stephanie, she link, sorry, she provided some of the Word file in text in chat option. Sorry, so please download all this thing. use all these resource when you need. Now I'm talking about the works cited element. Works cited elements actually nine top type of works cited element you can get. One is author, title, title of the container of source. I can talk about little bit later that one. Other contributors, version, number, publisher name, date published, location. All source, no matter the type, follow this pattern. If you get only the author name, title name, if you don't get any other information, just use that too. If you get author name, version, number, but there is a no date, publisher, location, no problem. How many you get, you just use that thing. Follow this pattern. If you do not have one of the 9 element, simply omit it and move on to the next. I'm just very basic works cited entries I'm talking about. For example, a book with only one author, or a book with 2 or more author, or how can you cite online article. You can see that a book with one author, citation format, author, last name, comma, first name, book title. Always book title or the journal names, it should be, you can see this is the little bit curve way. So italics all the time, use that format. Then publisher and the year, very simple format. One book, one with one author, just simply author last name, first name, book title, publisher year. The MLA 8th edition no more required for the publication city. So you don't have to don't think about the publisher, just the 4 elements. The author name, book title, publisher year. For example, Gladwell, Malcolm, Blink, this is the book name. The Power of Thinking About Thinking, this is the book name, and the Little, this is the publisher, and 2005. Done. A book with 2 authors, very simple. First author, last name, first name, but the second author, you can just write as it is, first name and the last name. And the book title, publisher, yeah. You can see, the Borwell Lawrence, and then Gloria Holland, Hemingway and Oman, blah, 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 University of Alabama Press, 2002. Done.
If you're familiar with other citation styles, note the and as well as the placement of the orders. Some it's ampersand, and then if I'm used to APA, the capitalization is different in APA than this one.
Yes.
This is kind of like, I think, the headline style of capitalization where you can do that.
And another one thing very important, the third line or the fourth line or second line in the reference works cited list, it should be indent, half inch, indent, half inch or 5/7 space, indent. And indent, you can simply in the Microsoft Word, you can highlight all the text, Control+T. It will automatically create it, the indent, and it include to the handout notes.
Yes.
So it's a Control+T. So we can do a little bit another practice, which is guided practice. The second page, there is a book. The book name is HTML and CSS. And the author is Elizabeth Castro, Bruce Hillslop. And the publisher is Pitchpit Press, and the year is 2014. Can we make a works cited for this book? The 2 author, you have to write down the first author last name like Castro. So go this one. First author last name and then first name. So it should be, I can write down. Astrop and then Elizabeth.
At the beginning, there's the handout, which is like a quick guide to MLA. So if you go to the beginning of the chat, and we designed that to really be a quick guide, something that you could print and post up near your desk or keep close with the format and the examples. So when you're writing at 11:30 at night and you just want to get it done so you can sleep, and then you have a quick reference guide. Not that I would know anything about that.
Oh, me neither.
And then, okay, so we write down first author, last name, first name, and then second author name.
Comma.
And then what should we write down?
The book title.
Okay, so book title is HTML, and CSS. And what should I do that one?
That is italicize it.
Yes.
So larger titles like books need to be italicized, but shorter things like articles do not need to be italicized.
Yes.
Okay,
And
that's a good general way to
and then
remember
the publisher, what's the publisher? It's like a
Peach Pit.
Yeah. Peach Pit. Okay. And sorry. And then follow, then comma, and then 2004 or something.
2014, I think.
Okay.
14.
2014. Okay.
Anyone in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's done. Very simple. A book with one author or two author, if it is written by more than three authors. For example, Castro Hillsop, Bruce Hislop, and another person. So
should there be a space between CSS and
yes.
Sometimes they're very picky about the spacing, and if you're old like me, you have to remember it's only one space after the period, not two.
For example, this book is not written by more than three people. So what you should write down?
Et al. Period?
Yeah, that's done. So that's very quick and easy. It's a very simple. But if you think about article or the online thing, editor, you just simply write down ed.
The editor.
Ed.
So
that's
you need, and this case, let me come close because this can be confusing. Sometimes you will have, like the classic literature, you'll have an editor that you'll include their name with because they edited Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. And then you'll have Harold, then you'll have like collections of essays or articles where someone is the editor and they're cited mainly in the plain citation because they got all the articles together. They decided what should go in. They did the format. So you'll see that. You'll see this where one editor, even though they didn't write the individual parts, gets credit. And then there's also sometimes where you'll have the author of a book, but this person did the editing of it. If any English majors out there, you go back to a certain, the editor will go back to the original publication or the publisher notes and edits to come up with a new editor. And then translators can be equally important, and the translators get their own different things. Thank you, Mahal.
Thank you, Stephanie. So I'm just using an article from online, and I'm just talking about one thing because this is usually the format. The author, first name, last name, title of the quoted source, and title of the container of source. What's the difference? For example, you get a article from a journal, and usually one journal version, different type of version journal. It's not one article, there is a multiple article. So actually the journal looks like the whole things. An article is one chapter or something. So in this case, you have to write down the journal name, and because this is the main container, you have to consider as a main source, and you have to italicize that thing. Understand? So the very simple, you have to, in this case, book is one book, so you can just simply write down the title of the book. But article, you have to write down the article name and the journal name. For example, you get an article, access service library, how they do, for example, it's an article, but you get this article from library, Texas Library Journal. So you have to write down the Texas Library Journal because this is the, the container. And if you get any version, number, publisher name, date published, location, or date of access. If you get this article from online, from database, from gestor, from EBSCO, you have to put this link. If you get sometimes, DOI, digital object finder, identifier, you have to write down that one. DOI, digital object identified, is something like ISBN, but it's born, this book who born digitally, they have a specific number. So you can simply include it. Yes.
There may be times when it might not always have a DOI.
Yes.
So if you can't find one, don't worry about it. But if you know that a DOI is there, make sure to include it.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. So if you get it, you just include. If you don't get the DOI number, don't worry. Where you get, put that link. And yes.
Two questions.
Yes.
When do you put the database?
For example,
like this one has Credo reference in there.
When,
what makes you put the database? Do you put it every time or just specific times?
Oh, yes, a specific time. For example, you get this article from today. This one, it should be is 07 September 2021.
Yeah.
And
get the access.
Yeah.
And the other question is, do I use the word accessed?
Yes, you have to use that
okay.
by, when you access that one. For example, today I found a article from Gestor or EBSCO, and I provide the link, but I have to write down today's date, because what's the problem is sometimes database, they remove the link.
Yes.
So even though sometimes someone follow this link and he or she was not getting this article, so they understand this link accessed by 2 years back, 2 months back, and it's not here. So they can do inquiry. Yes.
And sometimes that can also happen if you're citing information from a website. It's usually helpful to also put the date you accessed it on, because oftentimes the information on websites can change over time. And if someone who's trying to go back to that source, they're looking it up and they're like, well, it's not here. That's why it's always important to put, well, this is the date that I accessed it, because sometimes information on the internet can change rapidly.
Yes. Yes.
Now, for this one, it mentions Credo reference, which is a database.
Yes.
Do you, if you get something from a database, do you mention the database every time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you use from Gestor, you have to write down Gestor.
Okay.
And every database, there has a permalink option. Don't put, the from the big, address bar, don't copy that one. Every database has a permalink option. Click that permalink option and copy this permalink. Not, get big link from your address bar, not that one.
Thank you.
Okay. And an article from online, very similar, just simply that format. And citing an entire website. For example, UTPB, you get information, some information from UTPB website. How can you cite it? Because you have to cite the whole name. For example, Stephen Isham something wrote in the UTPB, their website, and you have to cite it. So simply write down his or her name of the site, University of Texas, Permian Basin. If you get version number, then write down. If you don't get, don't think, date of resource creation. If you get that information, something write down, under the Stephanie name. Use that, the date.
Could that be, would you count that as like the date updated? If they give you
Yeah.
updated, you could use that?
Use that one, definitely. What you get over there, you use that date.
Okay.
And then URL or date of access. So use that format to citing an entire website.
Okay.
Now I'm talking about very basic rules. Sometimes, even though you get works cited, but this is 4 major rules for the works cited. List only those sources that actually you cited in the paper. In your cite essay paper, you never mention Stephanie, her name, anything, but at the end of work cited, you cited that thing, any of them.
APA, a lot of times you would, if you refer to it, even though you didn't cite it, you would mention it in the paper.
That is correct.
That you used it for yours, for background research.
Yes.
And this is for the works cited list.
Yes.
Yes. What the list will look like.
So list only those resources that actually you cited in the paper. Alphabetize your list. For example, A, B, C, D order.
Author last name.
Yeah. Author last name. Then double space, indent, second and third lines. You can see this is an example. Adams, A, then G, and H, L. So it's alphabetically. You can see the first or the second line indent, half inch.
Yeah.
Or you can just select the whole, text and Control+T. And you can also see it's a double space. Between the line, you should put double space.
And what you could do is in your document, double space it and let it naturally wrap. And then when you get done, press return once and then start again. And that, can we go back to that?
Okay.
That's really nice because of all the different sources. So you have books, you have, looks like an essay in a book. Number 2, the Harry Lewis Gates. Then you have like an encyclopedia. Then they have the interview and the video. Then there's this other book there.
Yes, so it's
so they used a wide variety of sources in their paper, which can be hard to do, especially for novices, and if you don't know much about it. So they did really good job of their different sources.
Yes, so never, frustrated or never, it's a process, the citation, if you work every day, if you're writing, it's very easy once you learn. If you have any problem, any issue, check the books, MLA guideline, the format, which format should I use? And another thing, email me or Stephanie to, you need any type of help. We can definitely try to help you. How can you generate in-text citation or works cited? There is some link, useful link, and I believe it's also included to our handout. So you can get all this link. That's especially online writing lab from Purdue University. That's wonderful resource. Anytime if you have any issue, simply go and check the format. And you will definitely you will get many help. And Modern Language Association, MLA, they are the best help. Even though you can use that book physically or you can use their website and you can get help. So next thing, yes.
Hi, I just wanted to interject something just from personal experience that I've had. I know that these days they have the, I guess you call them citations machines online that they have now, or auto sites. Those are helpful, but I have noticed that sometimes if you're only relying on those, sometimes they're not always going to be correct. So what I always do is I go to the actual style manual, usually the one on Purdue OWL, and I double check. to make sure it's correct. And I'm glad I've done that because there have been times when I've noticed some inconsistencies. So it's always helpful to double check, always.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle. That is very important because I know all the database they have a option. You can make automated citation system, but it's always you should check physically. The uh, manually. Sorry, you can check manually because this is the machine dependable citation system. And many times I got from big databases and I found that's not proper citing. There is something not properly used, or
What is put in,
and
how
and
it's
and,
put in.
and another issue is right now MLA handbook 8th edition. You can get many of the database who are still using the 7th edition. So there is a difference. They are not updating their citation, automated citation system. So thank you, Michelle. Always, even though if you generate any citation system to use all these tools, but you have to check manually.
It's not Easy Bibs or RefWorks' name on the paper, it's yours.
Yes.
And you're
Yes.
responsible for it.
Yes. So the last thing, any question regarding that one? And another thing, my colleague Stephanie, she put a survey link. So please fill up that survey link. That will help us. How can we improve our library instruction workshop or the library instruction session? Please feel free to fill up that survey link. And do you have any question regarding MLA?
Usually I ask and interrupt you in between. So you use print when the phrase print at the very end when you are looking at a print item, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, you have the URL or DOI that will, and the database name that will tell you the person you got it online.
Yeah.
But if you're holding the paper copy in your hot little hand, you put print.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, definitely. If you get any article from the library and you read it, you don't have to put the link because you get that article library. What you access from, you have to provide this information.
Okay.
If you get online, give
Provide
them
the
their
URL.
address. If you get library, you don't have to write down UTPB library at the end of.
At
You
the end.
just
Yeah.
you just write down
Yeah.
the article name and the version or the issue number or the year.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, and the year at the end.
Yeah. But if you get even though if you get the printed books or the article and there is a DOI number, you can simply add that thing.
Yeah, we didn't cover this, but when you're citing a chapter from a book or an essay from the book, does does MLA use the word in?
Yeah.
In the citation?
Yes.
This chapter in, and then your citation.
Yeah, you can write down whatever there is a freedom according to Islam.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Reza write his article blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
up to
yeah.
your
Yeah. Well,
but you have to follow the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, no, what I was thinking was, like, I taught, like, the fine, it was, Carl Sagan, The Fine Art of Baloney Detection in Sagan Carl.
Yes.
That,
Mhm.
the science is a candle in the dark. And what reading citations, that word in was a very big clue that I was looking for an essay or a chapter in the larger
Right.
book.
Okay. So
That will help you as you go further reading things. Like, what do I do with? But it's something, and it's in the larger one. There is a citation that will list both. And then if you want to read that again, you can always go back to the big book and get it that way.
So thank you so much. I believe no one has
I don't
any
see
question.
any questions here.
So it's again, thank you for joining this library workshop. And if you have any question, don't hesitate. Please email us or call us. We are happy to assist you.
And we should have this up on the library's YouTube channel. by the end of the day tomorrow.
Yes.
So that you can refer to it again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Bye.